Find the surface area and volume of the following prisms. So yesterday we learned about prisms. Remember, prisms have two bases. Prisms have rectangles for their lateral faces. And remember what capital P stands for. It stands for the perimeter of the base. And capital B stands for area of the base. I'll give you a few minutes to work on these two problems. So while you're getting used to working with these, I recommend you go off to the side every time and you write in these blanks. P, H, B. And then for this one, P, H, B. Because these are the pieces that you're going to need to plug into your formulas. So if you've already found these pieces off to the side and you have them written down, it's going to be easier when you go to your formula and you start plugging stuff in. You won't get confused as you go. So let's find the perimeter for the first one. Johan, what is the perimeter of number 1, the triangular prism? So the perimeter of the first one, you would be adding 3 plus 4 plus 5. So for P, we're going to put 12. I'm not going to worry about units yet because those are not my final answers. Okay, now what is the height of the prism? What is H? H is 6. Remember, that height is not the height of the base. It's not 3. It's the height of the prism. So it's whatever number connects the triangle to the triangle. Capital B. Capital B stands for area of the base. Capital B is going to be different depending on what prism you're working with. This is a triangular prism. So that means capital B, you're going to have to find the area of that shaded triangle. Base times height divided by 2. So to find capital B, it's a little extra work. It's the area of the triangle, base times height divided by 2. So capital B is also 6, just like the height, right? Are we okay so far? So we look at our formula chart now. We go to our formula chart, we go to prism, and we're not going to go to the lateral surface area because SA stands for total. So we're going to find the total surface area formula, and it says PH plus 2B. So we're doing 12 times 6 plus 2 times 6. Very nice. 84 is the surface area. Way easier than the surface area is the volume. Victor, what's the volume of the first one? Capital B times H. Very nice, 36. It is capital B times H. They both happen to be 6, which is a total coincidence. Okay, now, what did I tell you for number 2? When it's a rectangular prism, you don't know what the bases are. Because usually we say that the base is whatever there's 2 of. But there's 2 of all of the rectangles. So when we don't specify what the base is, the shaded one is going to be the base. So we're going to assume the shaded one is the base. Actually, on number 2, since we're only finding surface area and volume, it doesn't matter which one you use as the base because the surface area is going to be the same and the volume is going to be the same. The only answer that's different is the LA. Depending on your base, the LA is going to be different, but when you're finding surface area and volume, it doesn't matter. But we're going to go with the shaded one being our base. So, Abby, what would be capital P for number 2? Capital P for number 2 is 18. So, remember, capital P stands for perimeter of the base. The shaded one is our base, so we're simply adding 2 plus 2, grab this number over here, plus 7 plus 7. Okay, the height of this prism is not 7 because the shaded one is the base. There you go. The height of the prism is 11 because the height is whatever connects the base to the base, the shaded to the other one that's congruent to it. And then V, what would capital B equal? The area of the base, the area of the shaded region. Very good. 7 times 2, base times height, length times width. Capital B is 14. Now that we have all the pieces, we're ready to go to our formulas. So when we look at our formula chart, the surface area is PH plus 2B. We already have all of those variables, so we can go straight to our calculator or to our brain, depending on what you want to use. So 18 times 11 plus 2 times 14. So if I were to paint that whole rectangular prism, I would be painting 226 square inches. So the total surface area is 228 square inches. The volume, like I always say, my very favorite, base times height. Adriel, what's the volume? The volume is 154 cubic inches, inches cubed. Volume is just base times height. So we already did the work. We already found the capital B and the H. So you just go to your calculator and do 14 times 11. And that's all there is to that one. Okay, let's look at our answers to last night's homework. Prisms homework answers. I don't know why it says no grade there. I don't know. Ignore the part that says no grade. Sorry about that. Don't know where that came from. That was not me. Okay, so sorry about that. I said the wrong answer. I just wrote the wrong thing. 226. We talked about it. I said it right. I'm sorry that I wrote the wrong answer. The surface area was 226 and the volume was 154. So we're going to look at problems 5, 7, and 8. I'm not going to work 10 and 11 because I already worked them on the homework help video and you can watch those on the homework help. Let's look at number 5 to start with. This might have caught some people because you haven't worked with mixed fractions in a while. That's why I always say Ms. Tanton loves improper fractions because mixed fractions, they're difficult to work with and they're actually difficult to enter into the calculator if you're not doing things by hand like you learned earlier in middle school. So the LA on number 5, we know it is P times H. Now, in this example, in all of these, 4 through 9, our shape is a rectangular prism. So the P is the perimeter of the base. The base is a rectangle. So if I know the length and I know the width, then I can find the perimeter. So I know the perimeter is 2 times 2 plus 2.5 times 2. I'm using this times 2 plus this times 2. So I know the perimeter is 9. The height is 5 2/3. The only way to enter that in your calculator is to do 5 plus 2/3. That's how you enter a mixed fraction into your calculator. I'm going to turn it into an improper fraction if you remember how to do this. 5 times 30 is 15, plus 2 is 17. So it is perimeter times height, 9 times 17/3. And you will find that the 3 is going to cancel and there's no fraction anymore. So the LA is 51. Now, once you have LA, how do you go to SA? Well, you do LA plus 2B. So now we need to find the area of the base. The base is still a rectangle because this is a rectangular prism. It's hard to see because it's see-through. Anyway, so how do you find the area of a rectangle? It's length times width. 2 times 2.5. That is 5. So it's 51. 51 plus 2 times 5. So 61 for our surface area there. And then you can do the volume. It's base times height. I'm going to keep going. Okay? Number 7. Number 7 could have been difficult because there's some radicals there. I'm surprised y'all didn't ask me about number 6. But okay, number 7. LA. We're doing number 7. The LA is P times H. So what's the perimeter of the base? It's 5 root 2 plus 5 root 2 plus 4 root 2 plus 4 root 2. They're all root 2s, so they are like terms. So it's 5 plus 5 plus 4 plus 4. 18. Okay, so it's 18 root 2. That's the perimeter. I just added up the sides. The height of this The height of the prism is 3 root 2. So now it's just a matter of, do we remember how to multiply radicals or not? So we're going to multiply the numbers on the outside first. 18 times 3. 54. Square root 2 times square root 2. The square roots cancel. It's the square root of 4, which is just 2. So that's why that one is 108. Alrighty. And then you want me to keep going on number 7 to find all the parts? I'll keep going. Number 7, so we have the surface area is going to be what we already found, plus 2, oops, that's a 3, plus 2b. So let's find the area of the base on number 7. It's still a rectangle. It's still a rectangle. So it's length times width. So it is 5 root 2 times 4 root 2. 5 times 4 is 20. Square root 2 times square root 2 is 2. So B is 40. So it is 108 plus 2 times 40. So that's how we get 188 there. I'm also going to let you do the volume by yourself because that's always the easiest one. Last one, number 8. I like that you chose number 8 because this one you have to work backwards a little bit. So let's see what we're given. Number 8, we are given the surface area. We are given the surface area. So 44.2 equals, and I'm just going to write the formula for surface area. When I'm working backwards, I always start by writing the formula with all the variables. Now we're going to plug in what we know. On number 8, do we know P? We totally know P, because if we have the sides of a rectangle, then we know the perimeter. So let's find P. 2 times 2.5 plus 2 times 3.8. 2L plus 2W. 12.6. So far, this equals 12.6 times, do we know the height? No, that's what we're looking for. Don't know it. Plus 2 times, do we know capital B? Well, if we know the size of a rectangle, then we know the area of the rectangle. 2.5 times 3.8. Now we're back to algebra. We need to isolate h. We need to solve for h. So we're going to do 44.2 minus 2 times 9.5. So I'm moving this guy over by subtracting. And then we're going to divide by 12.6. I'm going quickly here because algebra is a prerequisite for geometry. Okay, so I subtracted that one and then divided by 12.6, and oh my gosh, you get 2. You get 2. That's awesome. So 2 is the height, and I'm actually not going to do anything else from there because now you have the tools you need to find the LA and the V. All right? We are taking notes now. Title your notes, surface area and volume of pyramids. Remember, a pyramid is a completely different shape than a prism. The differences are pyramids only have one base. So I'm guessing in the formula it's not going to say plus 2b, right? It's just going to say plus b. Also, the lateral faces of a of a pyramid are triangles. They are not rectangles anymore. So that's a big difference in a pyramid versus a prism. I'm not concerned that you write down all these definitions. I'm just concerned that you understand what they mean. So I'm not giving you time to write down all these words. I just want you to watch and listen, okay? A regular pyramid, of course, is a pyramid that has a base that is a regular polygon. I think almost all of our pyramids are going to be regular. So every time, even if we don't tell you, you can assume the base is regular. So if the base is a rectangle, it's really a square. If the base is an octagon, it's a regular octagon. All sides are congruent. So even if we don't tell you, you're allowed to assume. The lateral faces are triangles. They're not only triangles, but they're isosceles triangles. The reason they're isosceles is because our bases are most of the time going to be regular. So they're going to be not just triangles, but isosceles triangles. This is a really important slide. The important part of this slide is knowing the relationship between the height, the lateral edge, and the slant height. Okay, so I try to color code them. I don't know if you can tell. The height is easy. The height is the altitude of the pyramid. The height is a line that is piercing through your pyramid, right through the middle, right through the exact center of the base. The lateral edge is this edge right here. Can you see that? The slant height, the variable for slant height is a cursive L. Cursive L, like that. It's like a leaning over L for leaning. Slant height's leaning. The slant height is this value right here. It is the height of that isosceles triangle. So this is an edge. This is the slant height. Edge, slant height. Height, right through the middle. Slant height. See how the slant height is slanted? This height is straight up and down. The slant height is slanted. I bet I could use better things than a purple pen and a clear, but this is what we have, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so the slant height, the height, and the apothem of the base form a right triangle. Guess what that means? You're going to be using Pythagorean Theorem. Maybe you'll use 30, 60, 90, but most of the time you'll be using Pythagorean Theorem. So what is that triangle made up of? It's made up of the height, the slant height, and the apothem of the base. Put that in your notes, that triangle right there. The height, the slant height, and the apothem of the base makes a right triangle, shooting through your pyramid. Trig will be rare, if at all. I can't remember. I don't think there's as much trig because there's so much more going on in a 3D solid. I don't think we're going to make you do trig inside of it. Yay! Don't quote me on that, even though this is recorded. Okay. You know what I would rather do first than this? I'm just going to give all the formulas to you first. I'm going to go out of order, and then we'll try it. I want you to write all of these formulas down, even though they are on your formula chart. I would like you to have them in your notes as well. Let's talk about each of these. LA, PL divided by 2. So P is the perimeter, so it's the perimeter times the slant height divided by 2. We're dividing by 2, it's kind of a long story, but we're dividing by 2 because a pyramid is not going to have the same amount of surface area as a prism. The prism has more to cover than the pyramid because the pyramid comes to a point. So, perimeter times slant height divided by 2. The surface area is the lateral surface area plus the base. It's the lateral surface area, which you already found, plus 1b, just the base, the area of the base. And then volume is base times height divided by 3. Did you know that if a prism and a pyramid have the same base, 3 pyramids fit into the prism? Did you know 3 of them? To me, it only looks like, I don't know, maybe 1.5 fit in there. 3 of them fit in there. Do I need to show you? Should I show you? We have a pyramid and we have a prism. They have the same height, and they have the same base. So that's why this is going to work, because they have to have the same height and the same base for this to work. So I'm going to fill this up, and we're going to see how many times it takes. I'm just using my water bottle to fill this up and dump it into, okay, whoa. Okay. Steady hands. Woo! So that's 1. Let's focus in there. That is 1 pyramid poured into my prism. See how that's only 1/3? You would think it's more, but it's really not. It takes 3 pyramids to fill a prism. This is number 2. I'm not quite filling it to the very top because I'm doing this on a laptop and I don't want to ruin the laptop. You see how far up it is? This is 2. And as you can imagine, 1 more is going to fit. Going to fit. Gonna is not a word. Okay. Last one. Do I have enough water in my water bottle? Looks like I do. Whoa. I went over there. Splash. So anyways, you get the idea. I was a little conservative, but look, now it is full, like almost to the brim. It's water. You really can't tell. It's clear. I need food coloring. But anyways, it's full to the top. See how it's like shaking? So anyways, moral of the story, That's why it's divided by 3, because 3 pyramids fit into a prism when they have the same height and the same base. All right, let's get working on some examples. Oh, okay, good question. What is the perimeter on a pyramid? Well, capital P stands for perimeter of the base. It always stands for perimeter of the base. Capital P is not perimeter of the 3D figure. It's the perimeter of the base. So I can't answer that question because it's going to depend on what your base is. If your base is a hexagon, it's the perimeter of the hexagon. If your base is a triangle, it's the perimeter of the triangle. Johan says, isn't it 2B for SA? Well, I already went over that. They only have one base. I'm going to make an executive decision. We're going to jump right into the difficult problem because we don't have time for both. So we're just going to do the toughest one, and that'll make your homework seem easier. Okay, so we're going to do baby steps. We're going to find each of the pieces, and then we'll find the values, the LA, SA, and V. Okay. P, what is capital P in this example? Everyone type it. This is a hexagonal pyramid. Good, it's 4 times 6. There are 6 sides, and each side is 4. So capital P is 24. What is the slant height? Here's where we get into Pythagorean Theorem. 6 is the altitude. 6 is the height. It is not the slant height. So this problem is going to get really difficult really fast, okay? I'm going to redraw this triangle right here. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to redraw that triangle right here. This is 6. This is not 4. I told you this triangle was made up of the height, the slant height, and the apothem of the base. This is the apothem of the base. So in a hexagon, if the sides are 4, what's the apothem of the base? (2√3). It's 2√3. No, it's not. The apothem. Yep, 2√3. Yeah. If you need help with that, you need to draw the hexagon facing you. And draw this right here. This is your apothem. This is 4, so this is 2, 2√3, and 4, but we don't care about that. The apothem is 2√3. It's 30, 60, 90. Okay, we still need the slant height, so we have to do Pythagorean Theorem. And you were so glad that we didn't have to do trig, but you didn't know you were going to have to be doing Pythagorean Theorem with radicals. All right. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Yep, we are going there. 36 plus, what's 2√3 squared? We have to know how to do this by now. 2 squared is 4, and the square root of 3 squared is 3. 4 times 3. So we have 48 equals slant height squared. How do you undo squaring something? You square root it. So it's 48. And what does that reduce to? 48 is 16 times 3. 16 is a perfect square. It's 4. So the slant height is 4√3. I'm telling you guys, I do the toughest ones in the notes. That way your homework seems easy. I know this is tough, but we've gotten through the brunt of it. Okay, LA. Okay, this is a new formula. PL divided by 2. This is going to be a breeze now that we know what P and L are. So it is 24 times 4 divided by 2. Are we okay with that? I didn't put the √3 in my calculator because we don't want decimals. So what is the LA of this pyramid? Good. Okay. Capital B. Oh no, we have to find the area of that hexagon. But we already found the apothem. Let's go to the side and do some work. The area is apothem times, okay, perimeter, we already found that, it's 24, that's old news. the area of a hexagon is apothem times perimeter divided by 2. That's not so bad. It's just 24 root 3. Whew! The surface area is LA plus B. So it's just 48 root 3 plus 24 root 3. Those are like terms, so we're allowed to add them. 48 plus 24. The surface area is 72 root 3. Whew! We can do this. What's the height? Oh my goodness, that was handed to us on a silver platter. The height is 6. What's the volume? It's not base times height because I did the whole water example and spent time doing that. It's base times height divided by 3 because 3 pyramids fit into a prism. So it is base times height divided by 3. So are y'all getting 48 root 3? It's the same as the LA. We're going to have an assessment later. It's going to be next 6 weeks, but you're going to have to find the surface area and volume of composite solids. That means more than one solid combined. So we are sprinkling these out throughout the lessons. That way when you get to the assessment, you're not like, oh, I've never seen that before. So anyways, this is really important. We're going to find the surface area and volume of this figure. So first we need to figure out a strategy. What is this figure made up of? This is a rectangular prism and a rectangular pyramid. Although they're squares because it's 24 by 24, but you know a square is a rectangle. So to find the surface area, there are multiple ways to approach this. So don't get mad at me if I'm not doing it the same way you are. To find the surface area, you can just find the area of each face and add them all together. Or you can find like the LA plus 1B plus the LA. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So I'm going to find the LA of the prism plus a base of the prism plus the LA of the pyramid. Whoa, that might have gone on over your head, but I'm going to talk about it real quick. This still has water in it. Oh no. Okay. If I want the surface area of this figure, I want only what's on the surface. I only want what I can touch. I cannot touch the bottom of this. Can't touch it when it's here. So that's why I'm finding only the LA of this. And I can't touch the top of this. So I can't touch the bottom of the pyramid or the top of the prism. So that's why I'm going to find the LA of the prism, but I can touch the bottom. So that's why I only need one of the bases plus B. Then I can only touch the LA of the pyramid. I can't touch the bottom, so I don't want the surface area of the pyramid. I hope this makes sense. So let's start to find them. The LA of the prism. So that is P times H. The perimeter of the prism, 24 times 4, 96. And the height of the prism is 15. Okay, how do you find capital B for the prism? Capital B would be like side squared, right? Because it's a square. So 24 times 24, or 24 squared, 576. And then the lateral surface area of a pyramid. Remember, you don't need to memorize any of these formulas. You always get a formula chart. P L divided by 2. The problem is that we don't have the slant height. The slant height is not 9. So let's find the slant height really quick. In this triangle, we have 9, we have 12, and thank the Lord that that's a Pythagorean triple. 15, right? Oh my goodness, so much easier than that other one. 9, 12, 15. Hallelujah. So, P is the same as the other one. It's still 96. L is the slant height, 15, divided by 2. Now that I have all of those values written down, notice I'm not just plugging this into my calculator, I'm writing it down first because it's so easy to make a mistake. Now that I have it all written down, I'm going to go straight to my calculator and the calculator is going to do the rest of the work. Okay, 96 times 15, hope you're doing this with me, plus 576 plus 96 times 15 divided by 2. Okay, so I'm getting 2,736 feet squared. Now we're going to do, oh, it just said find the surface area. It didn't say volume. Cool. Whew, thank goodness. Volume would have been easier, actually. That's why we did surface area, because that was a tougher one strategy-wise. All right, we are done with this lesson. Check out the homework help if you're having trouble with your homework. Have a great weekend.